Well, I'm at Brian's. We've got the printing press going now, so Martin Luther, eat your heart out. And this is side one. It's an A4, we'll chop it in half, and that's my case. And on the other side we'll be just talking about the Jewish racial and religious extremism, briefly, the rabbis. It's very difficult sometimes to do flyers. You have to try and get it just right. Unfortunately, we haven't had a lot of time. This has been a real rush job, but we're doing something. Oh, and here we go. Is this the final product? We had some problems, had to replace the cartridge. And there we have it. You too can do this. Let's have a look. So we'll chop these in half. So it's this A4, we'll chop it in half to be A5. Just civilian casualties in Gaza. Rabbi Ovadia Yosef. This could be done better. Again, you've got to refine things as you go along. It's quite a bit of information there to do in my case, probably too much. You've got to keep it simple, but anyway, that's always a problem. You always want to get everything in there. But anyway, just do it. Don't worry about being perfect, just do it. And we've got to rush now because we have to chop them in half, probably do that on the ferry, and just run down there. So there'll be 500 A5 flyers. And it's a lot cheaper to go to Officeworks or a printer, but we just wanted to muck around for now, and then we'll go to a printers where you can do it for like 5 cents per A5. Will be about 5 cents double-sided black and white. Pretty cheap. You can do this. It's simple.
If I had remained invisible, the truth would stay hidden. I couldn't allow that.
And what if no one believes this truth?
Someone already does.
Now, Louie, we're at a rally for Gaza. This is the second rally in as many weeks. You're originally from Iraq. You've been here now for, what, 10 years or so? Almost 10 years. Just give us your ideas.
Yeah, well, the ongoing Jewish Purim in Palestine has been around for the day of Balfour Declaration, and then was followed by the Palestinian Nakba, what the Jews call it, the War of Independence. It was the ethnic cleansing of Palestine, which began in 1948, which is ongoing. It's an ongoing process. It didn't start for the last couple of weeks. It's been going on around and around. And people are here as usual. Wherever you have for a Palestinian meeting or gathering is always dominated by some soft-core socialist or communist or the green left, and a few coward Muslims who are scared to talk about the real issue. I watched their signs and their placards. None of them have the intellectual courage or the testicular fortitude to address the real issue here. We are facing a Jewish blood ritual. It's a blood ritual. They had it in 2012, they had it in 2011, they had it in 2008, they had it in 2006 in Palestine. In 2003, they had the biggest Jewish Purim of all time in Iraq. Over 2 million Iraqis are dead.
Tell people what Purim is. It's taken from the Book of Esther,
It's the Purim,
Old
yeah,
Testament.
It's the Jewish ritual of Gentile bloodshed. Simply it is. And they need it. It's part of their
So this is from the Old Testament, or Tanakh.
Yes.
It's their holy book.
I'm not making it out of my pocket. Go read the Old Testament.
Book of Esther.
Yeah, we Gentiles, we call callous, or in another terminology called Amalek. They're teaching, their manual of action teaches them that go to the Amalek, totally destroy all that belongs to them.
The Amalekites.
You and I, totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Do not spare them.
And an Israeli academic, Hannah Kasher, actually wrote a paper, an academic paper, calling the Palestinians Amalekites worthy of genocide.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's part of their education.
They're justifying the collective punishment of Palestinians.
It's not a separate incident. It's part of their mainstream attitude. And
mainstream.
Yeah, it's the essence of Judaism. Non-Jews are Amalekite. The famous Israeli rabbi said, non-Jews are from an inferior order. He wasn't saying that Palestinians are from an inferior order. He said non-Jews are from an inferior order. That includes Australian, Tony Abbott, Julia Bishop, the Labour Party, Australian Christian Party.
No one talks about it though, do they?
Because they don't have the balls. You know, once you talk about the J word, everybody gets spooky. Everybody swallows his tongue and shovel something in his behind, and they just go quiet.
Yet Israel is officially known as the Jewish state.
By their own definition, it's a Jewish state, right? And they want an exclusive Jewish state. And all this.
And they define themselves as a race.
They see themselves certainly as a race.
And then they have Jew-only roads. As Helen Thomas, the former White House reporter, said, there are Jew-only roads in Palestine, and it's outrageous.
And they should get the hell out of Palestine. That's what she said, and she lost her job. I understand that people are scared they lose their job, but I'm not scared. I'm a different type of a goyim that Jews have to deal with me. And what they do in Palestine and in Iraq or in Afghanistan or the 9/11 or the attack on the USS Liberty or the killing of over 1 million Armenians by the Young Turk, which is a code word for the Jewish subversion of the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, they came into power when? The Young Turks.
The Young Turks was a subculture in
that was Ataturk, wasn't it?
Ataturk himself was a Jew from Salonika, and he was a fanatic Jew. And the whole Young Turk was just a cover-up movement for the Jewish subversion of the Ottoman
Now, Turkey
Empire.
makes great claims of how outraged they are about Palestine, and yet Turkey is one of the biggest collaborators with the Israeli state on the planet.
That's the power, because this current government or system in Turkey is the protege.
Yeah, I should say not the Turkish people, the Turkish government.
Government is the protege of the Young Turk and the so-called covetous Jews. Just like America, no conservatism runs America, but no conservatism has nothing to do with the American people. No conservatism is a subversion. It was started by a bunch of Eastern European Jews, communist Jews. Most of them were followers of Trotsky.
There were Polish and Russian Jews who came in the 1900s.
Over the political system and the foreign policy
Hollywood.
of Hollywood, name it. Every clear-headed person now.
Well, they got some good banners now.
Yeah, but they're scared. Everyone, you ask them, Nazism is evil and free Gaza. No, that's the real issue. We're facing a Jewish blood ritual. A criminal enterprise took over Palestine, and those people and the surrounding nations who are sympathetic to the Palestinians are being victimized for over a century.
With a large majority of the Jewish communities around the world, with some major exceptions, but in large part,
yeah, they have a mythology that they say Judaism is not Zionism. You gotta have grass in your brain to accept that lie. There are certain Jews who are not Zionists. That's like saying like 1 in a million.
Well, it's central to Judaism, the return to the land of our fathers. It's a central term.
Zionism has root in Judaism. Its essence is Judaism. It got nothing to the Palestinian or the Palestinian land in particular. It's a global issue. That's only a preliminary step toward their messianic dream, their messianic agenda, which is ultimately seeks to see the Jews as the masters of this planet. That's what Zionism is about.
Well, one of the biggest Israeli activists, Israel Shamir, said Palestine isn't the ultimate goal of the Jews. The world is. That's one of the biggest activists who gets standing ovations at London universities, and yet we're not allowed to mention that. We can't say these things.
We're Gentiles, and many of us don't have balls, but I'm a different type of a Gentile. Yeah, I mean, it's in the Talmud. Read the Talmud. Read the Talmud. The best of the Gentiles.
Shulchan Aruch, the other books.
Yeah, study the teaching of Yehuda Halevi, the teaching of Moshe ben Maimun. Study the teaching of Moses Hess. He says the Jews are the master race and we're destined to rule the planet. He's not saying the Arabs.
Now you're going to say don't shoot the messenger. You're just repeating what they say.
Yeah, it's in their book. I'm not saying anything.
Do you live in a free country here in Australia?
Well, not much, because they rule over you, you know. To see who rules over you, that French.
Because I served 3 years jail for saying very similar things.
I understand.
Does that sound like a free country?
But that's not going to happen again. You know why? Because we Gentiles, we got our act together, right? And if the Jews want to bully us or they buy out the judiciary, we're going to give them hell, right? Yeah, because Gentiles are silent, but things have changed. The Gentiles are no more silent. So if they want to play around, if they want to bully us, if I died by an accident or you hear me, I'm committed suicide, I'm not planning to commit suicide. I'm not going to die in an accident suspiciously. Whoever wants to deal with me has to come and face me face to face. And I don't think the Jews will do that. They usually send a Christian to kill you, or they send a Wahhabi dog to kill you thinking he's doing God a favor. Allah. No, it's over. It's over. We have the right to say whatever we believe to say. We're not participating in the act.
Well, we have no right
rights, we just do what we have to do.
Yeah, we have to expose the liars and the deceivers, you know. Jews, they have influence over this country just like they have influence over the United States, England, Ukraine. And they shouldn't be, I mean, they're free to say whatever they say. They have the Hollywood, they have the press, they have the mainstream media.
Which they admit to, and yet you can't repeat.
A Jew can say we run Hollywood, but a Gentile cannot say Jews run Hollywood. That's bad. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The Gentile need to wake up. We need to put our heart together. Stop buying into this Jewish propaganda. Jews are victim of blah blah blah. That's all nonsense.
Zionism is not Judaism.
Judaism is Zionism. Yeah. Judaism is nothing but Zionism. And those Jews that you see, they come around us here and they wave the flag. They're all game players. You know, it's a policy that they play. So you cannot address them. You say, oh, they're not all together. So it's a bunch of Jews, several minorities of the Jews who are bad. The rest of the Jews don't support them. And that's the game they play. To make you confused. Confusion is part of their psychological warfare.
Confusion, indeed. And they have a very simple slogans. But did you know that Hamas, it was a few days ago, Hamas put out an official statement asking for activists all over the world to expose the war crimes of the Israelis. Now that has got to include the fact that their head rabbis, their most head holy people, like the Pope is to Catholics, is actually calling for slaughter. But the media, the Western media, will not report it.
Well, because they control the Western media. Who controls the BBC, MNSBC, Fox News? I don't know. ABC, Australian Brainwashing Corporation. They're not run by Arabs or Catholics or Hindus or God-loving pan-American or pan-European. They're run by Zionist hardcores. If they're not Jews, they're the agent of the Jews. They love them. They fear them. Some of them fear them. And that's it.
I saw that myself on my trial. Judge Wisby was absolutely terrified. Terrified.
Yeah, because they can pick up a phone out to a judge and tell him, look, you're running a business and we understand, or you're behind your tag, so you have this.
Or would you like us to draw out 10% of your stock market?
Yeah, you want to go down, you got a lovely daughter, you don't want something happening.
Oh yeah, they hunt down your kids, target your children, get them addicted to drugs.
You know, Mossad is active everywhere. Mossad is very active. Beit Shin is active. They have death squads all over the world. In the United States, in the Arab countries, the Mossad is very active. They have, of course, they have Gentile collaborators like the House of Saud. They have the Turkish government. They have House of Nahyan and House of Sabah, all these pimping houses. And they got the right-wing Christian. They do their dirty works, and they're happy thinking that by doing the Jewish work, you're doing a God a favor. And you have no idea that you're just like the rest of the community.
How are people meant to get together on this, Louie? Because this is the big problem.
Well, you gotta first of all understand their life. Judaism, Jewish people, Jewish culture, Jewish history is a composition of lies. It's an amalgamation of lies. Once you start to digging these lies, Judaism, Jewish power, it will collapse.
How is it after all this time, Friends of Palestine, these Gaza rallies, not a single banner has said that Rabbi Ovadia Yosef called all non-Jews his slaves for the Jew? This is the head Sephardi rabbi. He calls for the slaughter of the Palestinians. That's like the Pope telling Catholics to slaughter Muslims. And there's not a peep. Not a peep.
Television for the next year.
If an imam did that.
Yeah, he will be hanging the lamppost in front of the council. The thing is, they control the media, they control the government, they brainwash the big fraction of the Christian in the world. They made the Christian believe that Jewish messianism is identical to the second coming of Jesus.
What do they say about Jesus? I laugh at all the Christians.
You Christian, listen to this. Your Jesus burns in boiling excrement. Jesus burns in boiling excrement.
In hell. And his mother is a whore.
Yeah, his mother is an asshole.
And all these dumbass evangelical Christians are running around supporting.
Jesus' mama was it. They're laughing. They're laughing
at us. It's embarrassing. Yeah.
You're lesser valued than the goyim, a cattle that they can slaughter, right? And you're a woman called shiksa. You know, the non-Jewish.
Which is a whore.
Shiksa. Every woman that you see here, from a Jewish perspective, called shiksa. Every man you see here is a goy, a cattle, a valueless cattle. You serve them. The moment you stop serving them, you go down the drain. That's not.
Well, they start financially. Start going after you financially.
Yeah, well, they implode the Ottoman Empire through taking over their finance. Let's follow this people. They took over the Ottoman Empire by taking over their finance, and the same thing is happening to the United States of, I call it Jews United States.
All right, thanks, Louie. That's been great. We'll talk again later.
All right, man. We can talk more about this subject.
Yeah, I mean standing. That's the Jewish community. Yeah, I've got a couple of videos of just little young punks, and they're filming enthusiastically.
Yeah, they all agents of the Prime Minister, the Israeli Prime Minister office, and they're on payroll. You know, they all active with the Zionist organization in Sydney. They have their organization.
But there's no counterintelligence group. Why don't they have a counterintelligence group?
What do you mean by that?
We should have a counterintelligence group. We should have at least 50 organised people with cameras watching the crowds.
Well, I can smell them. I smell them, to be honest. They consider us as their enemies, so I smell them. I saw a couple of them. Judaism, not Zionism. They come through dust in your eyes, so you can't say the J word. That's why everyone is scared of saying the J word.
Because I know when I turned the camera on a few of them, they bolted. Have a look at these young guys now. Watch, from last week. Yeah, they were... guys, come and join in the march. Filming for the synagogue. No worries. See them bolt?
Man, they do what they do. I'm not... Look, what
yeah, but the point is you be aggressive. Their intention is not nice. It's not their intention. Their intention is to gather data, to get photographs of activists.
They have the data. They have...
No, but they get photos of who's there. They go to the synagogue. They harass their families back in Palestine. This is serious business.
Yeah. I mean... I told you I'm a different type of a Gentile.
Yeah.
So, and my number is not one. There are millions of me that they can turn the life of the Jewish community to hell. Not in a violent way.
Information.
In an information.
But they see information.
You know why? I have the mentality of Zev Jabotinsky. Jews now, who's Zev Jabotinsky? And this guy, you're not going to go down to the prison again. That was the end of it.
Well, if they want me again, I'll oblige. They were glad to see me go last time, trust me.
I am the protege of Zev Jabotinsky, the biggest Jewish gangster in the world.
Louie, one of the things I've found, Louie, is the fact that information is violence for them.
Yes, because they get exposed, man. They get exposed, right? They don't want you to know that they control the banks here, JP Morgan. They don't want you now. They don't want you now that they control the Parliament House by their money and their bullying and their lobbying. Like a couple of weeks ago, there was a British bishop who wanted to come to Australia and have a public speech. His name is Bishop Williamson. I forget his first name. And the Jewish community, you know, they pick up the phone on the immigration minister or the immigration department, and they just say, look, we don't want this guy here. And the immigration minister, you know, cow down like a chicken, like a cattle, and he say, okay, no problem.
Like a slave.
Yeah, like a goyim, son of a shiksa, bow down, and he says, all right, Bishop Williamson doesn't come to Australia. Why? Because Bishop Williamson is not a coward. He talks about Jewish lies. Check him out. You already exposed many of the Jewish lies.
So when is our Prime Minister Tony Abbott and his silly little lady next to him, Foreign Minister Julie Bishop, going to work out that goyim and shiksas?
I think they know, but they're coward. You know, they know. Julia Bishop now, she's a shiksa. She knows that. Tony Abbott now, he's a puppet of a penal colony, and although he got the power, right? We got the power to stand up. But
Tony Abbott's also a Jesuit in the Catholic Church.
I don't know, man. I don't care about him. I didn't vote for him. It doesn't make sense to me at all. And yeah, I mean, Australian people need to stand up and get the politics right back to the hand of Australian.
Well, that's going to take information, Louie, and that's until these organisations, these rallies you see now, until we start seeing banners calling on an end to Jewish racial and religious supremacists and exposing their holy books, their rabbis, and how it filters down to all aspects of their society, to their academics, their political groups, their business groups, and understand how this filters down. I can't see anything changing, although I'm hopeful the Israeli state, when people focus on their massive military and civilian contracts, when they focus on it, the BDS movement, and we start to expose this filthy racist state and the underlying ideology, Judaism, we'll see an end to it.
It has to go down the drain.
It has to go.
It doesn't have room in the modern.
And there's no negotiating with it, it just has to go.
No,
period.
It has to go. The state of Israel is a criminal, colonial injection. It's not a natural entity. It's not an organic phenomenon. It's a criminal occupation. They say, oh, Israel has the right to defend itself. No, it doesn't. Imagine somebody comes, breaks into your house. Does he have a right to defend himself? No. You kick his behind and he get the hell out of your house. Right? Oh, Israel has the right to defend itself, has the right to exist.
What about the media? Because if the media would do some honest reporting, maybe things would be different.
Well, the media doesn't work for you and I, does it?
Works for rich people.
It works for the power and the privilege and its control, right? You can't get on television in any Western country and talk like this. You know why? Because that television editor or the manager...
But we're free, Louie. We're free.
They're gonna shit his pants.
We're free.
But they're scared. You know, when you're scared, a little clique. There's less than 20 million Jews in the world. They're ruling the most powerful countries by their...
They're like a heroin dealer. They have the heroin, which is the financial markets and the money, the reserve banks, and it's like heroin. And they just get you addicted, and then if you annoy them, they just pull it off you.
Something else. They are the master of deception and mischief. They don't lie just because they have to or they're in threat.
They love it.
Because they're repulsive liars. That's why Jesus called them the
father of lies.
That's right. Why Jesus called them father of lies? Was he an Arab? Was he a Palestinian?
Sons of your father the devil, children of hell.
Yeah.
He was talking about the religious and political elite, but it filters down right through their society. The Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox are absolutely sick.
What do you mean by that? That we who are righteous are blind? If you were blind, you would be without sin. But since you say we see, your sin remains.
That's true. This man was to the devil! No! He's a cheat! A fanatic! Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees! Hypocrites all! For you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men! You do not go in yourselves, nor do you let others enter! Blind guides! You strain at a gnat and swallow a camel! You bow before the letter of the law and violate the heart of the law! Justice! Mercy! Good faith! You are like whited sepulchres, all clean and fair without, but within, full of dead men's bones and all corruption. You see these stones, do you not? I tell you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. Yours is a house of desolation, the home of the lizard and the spider. Serpents, brood of vipers, how can any of you escape damnation?
And the one thing else, you go to the New Testament that says they killed the Lord Jesus. It says clearly, they killed the Lord Jesus and the prophet, right? They oppose all men. They don't please God and they oppose all men, forbidding us from speaking to the Gentile that they may be saved. And it finishes, but God's wrath has come upon them at last. You go to the Christian churches, all they tell you, oh, nation of Israel, God loves Israel. Unfortunate world with Israel.
Yeah, but that's infiltration. That's been planned since the early 70s. They really radicalised Islam. The madrasas funded through the Wahhabis in Saudi Arabia, the madrasas in Pakistan. They were really radicalising, building up groups. Some of it was grassroots, Muslim Brotherhood, sick of the West doing what it was doing, but it was really amplified and funded by those people. The Israeli intelligence agencies, American intelligence, in general, British intelligence. And then we have, they even said in the early 70s, we need a replacement for the Soviet Union, the boogeyman. So they'd invented radical Islam.
That's right. They got the House of Saud. You got to understand the history of House of Saud. It's one of the forbidden materials in the Arab world. You cannot talk about history of House of Saud. Why? Because there's
set up by British intelligence.
Yeah, the British used to supply them guns, money, prostitutes, whatnot. And there's historical evidence that House of Saud are Jews. Right. Many Arabs don't know that. Only hardcore Arab like me know that, because you can't say it in the Arab media. Because House of Saud, they control most of the media.
Didn't a couple of the young princes in the early 90s speak out? One woke up with a heart attack. The other one died of thirst in the desert.
Yeah, it's a criminal family, and even one of them wants to, wake up and straighten up things. They kill him. They don't have any problem to kill. They killed over 1 million people in Arabia from early 1900s. So it's not a problem for them to kill one of their own family. Yeah,
But Louie, this is simple history, and why do people have to hear it from you and me? They should be hearing it from the BBC, ABC.
Come on, tell me about it. BBC is not there to educate you. It's there to brainwash you, control your emotion, control your action, dumb you down, and make you live like a cattle. BBC, ABC, MNSBC, Sky News, they're all the same shit. And even Al Jazeera, we call it Al Jazeera because it's Shimon's Press favorite channel. They work for them, they have House of Nahyan, House of Sabah, House of Saud, in particular House of Saud. They have rendered the state of Israel, international Jewry, American imperialism great service.
Is that why Iran was so dangerous when President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad first started this process?
Yeah, well, President Ahmadinejad, he gave them hell.
And he was calling for unity within the Middle East, the Arab world, Persians coming together.
They don't want that. They don't want that.
That's probably the biggest scare, is unity. A clenched fist, if you will.
Yeah, well, international Zionism fears exposure.
So they want to keep the barbarians from coming together like the Romans did.
That's what they do. Empires do. They play people against each other.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. And they do it well. They got the money. They got their lackeys.
So what's going to happen with all these people here? Are they just going to go home now, have a coffee?
Unfortunately, they're going to go home and they get back to their lives.
Go back to work.
Like nothing happened.
Pay their mortgages.
Palestinian people get slaughtered day in, day out.
So there needs to be a concerted, short, medium and long-term plan.
Look, we're at war. The international Jewry has declared war on the Gentiles. This is not of today and yesterday. It's been around for thousands of years, right? We got to get our act together. First of all, expose their lies. Start a YouTube warfare just like we do,
Well, I got a better idea, Louie. You're hearing Louie speak, you've heard me speak, we're prepared to put it on the line. How about some money? I've been interviewed by Press TV, I ran in English language news, I did 3 years in jail and nearly killed myself in a 79-day hunger strike. I think we have the runs on the board, you've heard Louie speak. We want a panel discussion group, we want a green screen, a few lightings, a couple of cameras. It's not going to cost much, a few $1,000s, and we'll get a weekly show going.
And you can do your own work. Start a YouTube warfare, a Facebook warfare, Twitter warfare. Expose their lies. You know their lies. I know their lies. But why are you scared to talk about it, right? They can lock up Brendon, but they can lock me up with Brendon. If you get hundreds of people come out to the public and expose a Jewish lie, like once a month, the Jewry, the international Jewry will shit themselves and they have to watch their shoulders 100 times a day. That's how coward they are.
I think they're at that stage almost now. Speaking of which, do you see the young American Jew in Israel getting flogged by the Israeli police standing up? He didn't hold back. I'll tell you what, he went for it. He didn't hold back in his statements. And in fact, let's cut to that video footage now of this guy.
Israel is occupying the Palestinian people in my name, in the name of world Jewry, and I myself, an American Jew, am here to say that that is completely unjustified and ethically reprehensible. And world Jewry and all people of the world will not stop until this occupation ends and until the Palestinian people have their right of return, their right to live without occupation, and equal rights within Israel. That is why we are here. I'm not giving you my passport. I have a right to be here. I have a right to be here. Don't push me. I need to call my passport right now. Get all of it. Right now.
I will lock out all these average habits.
Now, you've seen that footage. He really went for it. Now, I guess you're going to encourage as many Jews as possible to start speaking out as much as possible, because it's really important, not just for the Palestinians, not just for the planet, but for the safety of Jewish communities around the world.
Well, if you're a Jew and you oppose Israel, first of all, welcome back to humanity. You're no longer a Jew.
Yeah, well said.
Right?
You're an Israelite.
You are a human being now. You're no longer a Jew. Welcome to humanity. You're just like one of us. Welcome you. But, you know, generally speaking, the Israelis are hardcore not cases. You know, there's no...
Literally.
They don't have redemption. They're going down the drain, and they don't see themselves capable of
well, they're just sociopaths. I mean, they've gone so far now, I don't think there's any coming back from them.
No.
Even from a legal and spiritual and ethical perspective.
No, man, no.
Is it possible that a Nelson Mandela can come up from the region, from the Middle East and Palestine, and can there be peace? Is it possible?
Well, you can't have peace with occupation. If you want peace, you got to end up in the state of Israel. That's how peace
I agree.
comes.
So the state of Israel ends, but imagine that the majority Arab Muslim population, and there was massive worldwide investment of billions, and there were peace gatherings. The extremists were got rid of, the ultra-Orthodox, many of the Orthodox, the Benjamin Netanyahus, they'll have to go. But in general, is it possible for ordinary Israelis and ordinary Arabs, Muslims and Jews, is it possible for these people who just want to raise their kids, is it possible for them to live together?
Well, not with the Jews, because the Jews, they burn down all the bridges behind themselves. They used to live in Arab countries with, peacefully, but now they have a Jewish state.
So should they do what Helen Thomas said, get the hell out?
Get the hell out of Palestine as soon as possible.
But didn't Hamas have Hamas or Hezbollah had a policy where they said Arab Jews could stay, but all the rest have to go?
Yeah, they said, look, we're not going to touch any ship which is shipping people out of Palestine. So they're giving you the right to evacuate peacefully. Nobody needs to get hurt. But if you stay there in Palestine, your atomic bomb doesn't help you. Hamas one day will be in Tel Aviv. Hezbollah one day will be in Bethlehem and
well, I've heard already large numbers of the wealthier Jews are shifting out of the Middle East completely, coming to Australia.
Because they got a little bit of sanity. The only shithead Jews, ghetto Jews, those who came out of the ghettos and slums of Eastern Europe, they stay in Palestine. Because they brainwashed them and they got nowhere to go. They think they don't have nowhere to go. But, they can come to Australia, live peacefully.
Well, if the world gets behind it and funds resettlement?
Yeah, well, they have the money. They don't need the money. Come on, they own the biggest bankers in the world. They don't need your money and my money. But they're driven with their messianic agenda that they need to rule the world through.
Yeah, I don't think people can really understand the issues as long as we continue to not talk about the religious side of this, that they're following holy books. I mean, Louie, it says clearly in their own books that they will own Greater Israel. It's absolutely central, and if you know people who live in Palestine, they will tell you, they talk openly, they're going to own all the land from the east bank of the Nile to the west bank of the Euphrates, Greater Israel, southern Lebanon, all of Jordan, all the way into Iraq. It's in their, they talk openly in Palestine, in Jerusalem. They're going to knock down the Dome of the Rock, they're going to destroy the mosque and rebuild the temple. It is absolutely central. Okay, it's not a secret.
A dream of thousands of years ruling is not about having a state for themselves. What kind of state they
want the capital of the world to be Jerusalem.
They want the capital of the world. And
that's not us saying that. That is written about countless times.
Study Jewish messianism, people. They want to rule over the Gentile. How they do that? Britain was a small island. They rule over the world. So Jews can do that as well. They have the media. They have the international banking system, right? They have the international monetary system in their hands. And now they want territorial expansion. That's why you see Iraq has been invaded and destroyed. Syria has been invaded and destroyed. They want Hezbollah out. They want Hamas out. They want to kill as much as Arab possible.
Isolate Iran.
Isolate Iran. When the Syrian Arab army collapses, they can do their own territorial expansion.
Surely Sunnis must understand that they're being used by Israel to destroy their enemies. Why? How long is this going to go on?
Sunni,
Who are they?
It's a subculture, a bunch of lunatics. They're not Sunni. If you're Sunni, you understand the Quran says the most hostile people against the believers are the Jews, right? So you're not a Sunni. If you're Sunni and you go out and start a war in favor of NATO, State of Israel, you're a moron. That's simple.
So are many of these the top leadership mercenaries or someone being brought in from overseas?
They ship mercenaries from all across the globe. It's called fourth generation warfare. What's going on in Syria and northern Iraq. There are certain local elements have been used, but as general, it's an injection. It's a show. They ship all these Wahhabi brainwashed. The American have a military base in Jordan. They train these Wahhabi dogs. They go around.
Well, the Marines even have urban training warfare centres in Israel and are training with the Israeli Defence Force. United States Marines.
That's right, that's right. Also, the NATO has a base in Turkey, and Turkey's been shipping these mercenaries from all across the globe to that base. They train them with guerrilla warfare, and they ship them in Syria, and you get confused because you have no idea. The media doesn't tell you. And they chant Allahu Akbar, you think they're a Muslim. No, they're a bunch of paid up mercenaries. And throughout history, many empires used mercenaries to fight their wars.
Louie, let's just cut very quickly now to Kay Griggs. Remember Kay Griggs, one of my favourite 7-hour interviews. Her husband was a former Marine assassin, a colonel, who ran the assassination and dirty tricks program for NATO. And she talks now about how Israel Special Forces work with Navy SEALs. They actually assassinate people in the United States and all over the world. Cut quickly now to Kay Griggs.
Fascinating conversation. Talking to the wife of the former
Chief of Staff, Marine Atlantic, head of the intelligence group that went to Beirut. They were already meeting over there. He was, before the Beirut bombing, the NATO intelligence wet operations guy, psychological operations guy.
Okay, now when you refer to wet operations, W-E-T, does that stand for something?
Yes, it means murder, assassinations group. NATO has a group of assassins and psychological operations specialists who work in combined operations to destroy targets. The taxpayers are paying young men who are not citizens of the United States to kill innocent people, women and children. And they do wet ops. They'll just, murder 5, 10, 20 people. 5, 10, 20 people. 5, 10, 20 people. And then they blame it on the Arabs, or they blame it on somebody else. So David Koresh was used because he had a Mossad, he had an Israeli agent. They always get away, don't they? The Israelis always are in there, but they get away, don't they? Anybody who is Jewish is automatically a member of the army, the Israeli army. They have a joint relationship. How can they be loyal to America if they will shoot ships like the Liberty, and it's covered up for whatever Israel wants to do, if they want to kill Palestinians, if they want to sabotage, because George told me that that's what they do. They do a lot of sabotage. One of whom is head of intelligence, is head of computers and the intelligence for the Army, Ron Jarmuth. Now, Ron Jarmuth comes right out and says, I'm an anarchist. His family are New York, old Zionist Jews. He met his wife, I think, in a kibbutz. Colby, I spoke with personally on the phone. 2 weeks later, he was murdered. He went to Princeton. My husband knew him. He knew my husband. He told me, Colby told me that...
This is General Colby?
No, this is William Colby, who was head of the CIA.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who was murdered in a...
so-called boating accident.
I know exactly how that happened because, you see, the SEAL teams, SEAL Teams 6, 4, 6, and 8 are on the East Coast, and then the odd numbers are on the West Coast. And some of the people who are affiliated with the SEALs, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to say it, but...
Well, it wouldn't be hard for a SEAL to come from underwater and tip the boat over and make sure the man's dead, that sort of thing?
The Israelis train with the SEALs. They do a lot of wet ops, murders, over here because of some sort of arrangement. The young boys...
Now, Louie, we just watched Kay Griggs now. You know all about this, but how can we get the average person to understand just how deep this goes?
We can do as much as we can. You can't make people interested. People are interested in Justin Bieber
Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus.
Bieber and Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
You can't tell them about real issue. But we can do our job. We do what we can, what's in our ability, and we can wake up people. You know, you got many fans now in Australia. Many people are upset with what happened to you, and they don't let it happen again, right? You see people come and talk to you, and they're sick of it. We're sick of being harassed just because criticizing Israel. And the freedom in this country is something fundamental. The freedom of speech is something very fundamental. If you want to mess with it, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You're going to bring trouble to yourself.
Speaking of freedom of speech, we see an Australian journalist in Egypt is jailed for 7 years, and there was an outcry, absolute outcry.
You know, they work for Al Jazeera. You know, I think that they're agents of the Australian Federal Police or Mossad or CIA. That's why the government. Yeah, that's why the government is concerned about them. Otherwise, the government wouldn't give a toss. I mean, most of this international TV station and their reporters and presenters, they work for the agencies.
Yeah.
The media is only extension of the government. So.
Well, a lot of other journalists are subcontracted to various intelligence agencies, NGOs. What people don't realise, a lot of their non-government organisations have agents attached to them from Asia. Or they're just friends of agents, just informal. That's why you see they get a bit irate in the Middle East sometimes with these NGOs. I know a lot of them do very good work, but Louie, it seems to me it's very complicated. How do we get ordinary people to understand this? I mean, we're talking now, but
read some book about.
No one wants to read, Louie.
Read. Reading is important to your brain.
We need a 10-minute rock and roll video with naked girls and Yetis and UFOs. Maybe people will watch.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe we can invite Justin Bieber to have a talk show with
Well, what about these Hollywood stars? What about Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson, God bless Mel Gibson. If you ever read and seen interviews with Hutton Gibson, Mel's father, my God, if you think Mel's bad, listen to his father. Well, how is it Mel Gibson knows all these facts? He goes off, gets drunk, coming down off whatever he's on or whatever, I don't know, and he screams and tells the truth, and then he backs down. Mel Gibson is a rich man. He doesn't need Hollywood anymore. He could retire in Australia, form his own production companies. Why is he surrounded by Israeli ex-special forces as his bodyguards? He's surrounded by Israelis and Jews. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, let me just make this clearly and shortly. Hollywood is a Jewish private club. Right? When you work in Hollywood...
But Mel Gibson can leave it. He doesn't need them.
Because he's scared of them. Why he doesn't leave them? He can come...
Is he worried about having a heart attack or a stroke?
Or maybe die suddenly by a suspicious car accident.
Or an aircraft crash in fair weather flying.
Anything can happen. But he can do...
Shot down over the Ukraine.
He can... Yeah. Tell me about it. He can come to Australia and start his own industry. There's everything here. Right? Their talents, their human resources, their finance. But, you know, they control that Hollywood club. I call it Jewish wood. And whoever is in Hollywood somehow is their employee. And you can't mess with your boss. If you mess with your boss, what will happen? You're gonna lose your job. The actors and the actresses and all these big celebrities, they know that. That's why every year they take these actors and actresses.
Yeah, but wait a minute, I don't understand how they're that addicted to fame and fortune. They're already worth millions and millions of dollars. Why not just come out swinging? Particularly now, this is their chance to stand up. It's a moment in history.
I don't know, man. They're scared. People are scared.
Maybe
we gotta break that fear. We gotta break down that fear. Maybe people will come out of their closets. What do you think?
I agree, mate. I think we need to kick the king in the nuts and say the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah,
we really need to kick him in the nuts. That's why I love Mel. You made Braveheart. What a movie. I love that movie. And of course, William Wallace was betrayed ultimately because everyone was selling out for land. It's a really good archetypal story, Braveheart, Mel Gibson. But please, Mel, come on. Come and support your fellow Catholics and Muslims down here. Come on down to Australia. Come on. Where's the Aussie spirit?
Where's the Aussie spirit? Once you say the J word, everybody
runs.
They
run.
What's the big deal? Where's the machos? Where's the Anzac spirit?
Yeah, where's the Anzac spirit? Aussie. Yeah, where is it? I think it's a load of shit. I think we're just a bunch of gutless colonial slaves.
If you were imprisoned by a Muslim community, you would be a celebrity for the right-wing Christian in this country.
Of course.
And this moronic, they call themselves patriotics. I call them moronic people. Aussie. Where were you when this guy was in prison? You didn't even know, because you dumbhead watching SBS.
Oh no, they knew. Pastor Margaret Court down at the Victory Life Centre knew exactly where I was, because Pastor Margaret Court, one of the evangelical large groups here in Perth, actually hosted the Israeli ambassador to Australia and the Israeli deputy foreign minister, and 30 local and federal members of parliament and 1,000 alleged Christians came out to support the opposition in my case. It was unbelievable. So they knew exactly what was going on. Margaret Court, I haven't forgotten about you, sweetheart. You call yourself a Christian? You're a fucking joke.
You're Christian, and Jesus burns in boiling excrement, right?
That's who she supports.
Jesus
what a dumbass. What a dumbass. I'm embarrassed to be a Christian. I'm embarrassed.
Australian Christian Party, right? The mother of your son God is a whore. Is that right? Now go do a little comparison between the teaching of Talmud.
Tell us what the Quran says.
And compare it with what the Quran says about Jesus.
Yeah, he calls Jesus a great prophet, and his mother is blessed, and yet here's Christians attacking Muslims 24 hours a day. When it's Islam supports us. What's wrong with you?
I don't understand. The Zionists will take down this country just like what they did in Palestine. If you morons don't wake up, they have thousands of ways to destroy this country. You know it. You don't need war, guns, bombs to destroy countries anymore. War is being very, very intelligent business nowadays. They have all the power and they can destroy this country, and they do it like exactly what they do to the Palestinians. If you morons just cow down and just, you know, have the beer and sit around your pub, talk bullshit all day long, this is what will happen to you.
Yeah. Do you want to be on?
You want to be on?
Yeah. Just I have some guys here. We're talking about the fact that the Christians sit there supporting Jewish power while the Quran calls Jesus blessed, a great prophet, and his mother is blessed, while Jews say he's boiling and hot excrement in hell. So what's wrong with the Christians? Who are you supporting?
Well, once you say the J word, people come around you spooked out and scared.
Yeah.
This should be a change, right? We should be able to talk about any issue we want as long as we're talking about it decently, without breaking the law, right? The Jewish question.
But the law is set up that you can't say anything.
Because the law is...
Because truth is not a defense within the law.
Yeah, but the population is stronger than the legal system.
Well, they're too busy drinking beer.
Yeah, but we can do
Watching sport. Going Aussie, oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, and you let your countrymen to go to the prison. For what? For criticizing a foreign entity.
And they're Zionims, local Jews who work for a foreign nation.
If you Australian now, how contemptuous Jews of you, right? You will commit suicide. You're a goy, a cattle, and your woman are shiksas. Go to Google and check out the meaning of shiksa.
It's not like the information's hidden, is it? It's easily available.
It's all over the place, man. It's all over the place. And they can't hide it anymore because it's been all over, right? They can silence individuals who talk about them, but they cannot silence the population. This is a fear. Now the individuals are composing a big population, and the Jewry is exposed once and for all. And that's their fear. And it's coming. It's coming.
Let's have a break, Louie, and we'll talk some more later.
Worries, no worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have Louie handing out some flyers. We gave some to the local state police.
I told the local state police, did they know that an Israeli company, Variant, does all their data intercepts for state police and the Australian Federal Police? I didn't mention that, of course, the Israeli company Amdocs does all the billing for Telstra, the largest telco. These are things the BDS movement can go after, and these are also a national security risk. And I hope one day we'll see banners in these marches discussing exactly that. Hey guys, did you know an Israeli company does your data intercepts? Variant, they do the data intercepts for the police.
They know nothing, dude.
Local and federal police. Amdocs, Israeli company, do the billing for Telstra, so they know who we're calling.
Yeah, talking about to the public about Rabbi Ovadia.
Tell us about Rabbi Ovadia Yosef. What did he say about the Palestinians?
The only purpose of a non-Jew is to serve the Jew.
Be a slave.
Be a slave. Non-Jews are from any...
Now, why wouldn't the Western media report this? That's very newsworthy.
Because his cousins control your media. That's why. That's the only reason.
Didn't he call for the slaughter of the Palestinians? One of the top religious leaders called for the slaughter of the Palestinians.
Mainstream of their ideology. Mainstream.
Yeah, they try to say he's an extremist, but he's their top man.
They are all extremists. If you're a Jew and you're not extremist, you're not a Jew, you're a Gentile. That's the end of it, but people are scared to talk about it. We're all goyim here. All these women here are shiksas. All of us are goyim camels.
That's what they call us.
That's what they call us in the religious book.
Why doesn't the Western media report this?
Because the Arabs control it. You know the Arabs?
Oh yeah, the Arabs control
the Indians,
yeah.
the aliens, the
shape-shifting lizards.
Yeah, the lizards and the buffoons. They control the media. It's not the Jews, no. It's me and
Didn't Joel Stein, opinion piece writer for the LA Times, wrote in 2008, of course we control Hollywood, the news media, and he said, the only thing I'm worried about is that we get to keep on controlling it.
We can't control it, yeah.
And yet we can't say it. We're not allowed to say it.
Goyim, you know, we're not choosing I.
How Jewish is Hollywood? Its date is December 19, 2008. Check it out. Stein talks of a new opinion poll by Foxman and the ADL that shows only 22% of the American people now believe that the movie and television industries are pretty much owned by Jews. Mr. Stein thinks it's crazy that so few Americans believe that Jews control the media. He says it, quote, shows how dumb America has gotten. Because he says, quote, Jews totally run Hollywood.
Yeah. But things have changed now. We talk about it freely. They can't silence us. You know, we can face the jury and tell them you're a bunch of parasitic criminals and your existence is no longer tolerated by the Gentiles.
That's true. How long before we get 250,000 Jews from New York marching? Are they going to march? Or?
No, man, no. There's a tactic marching always. They come out, Israel, but that's a show. You're not going to get a real opposition between the Jews against Israel. Because Israel represents the Jewish people. By its own definition, it's a Jewish state. So it's silly of a Gentile to expect a Jew come out and say, I oppose Israel. That's a show. They come here to mock you down.
What about Professor Norman Finkelstein, though? He doesn't pull his punches when he criticizes Israel.
Well, he's banned from Israel. And he's no longer a Jew because he's a Gentile. When he criticized Israel,
But he still has his position as Professor of Political Science at the University of Chicago.
They destroyed him, man. Oh, he was one of them. The only reason he survived because he was one of them. If I say that and I'm a professor, I'm down the drain. I gotta go drive a taxi. Right? Sometimes they let themselves, talk. But we Gentiles, we should shut up. And we have to oppose that.
Have you read the book Jewish History, Jewish Religion, The Way to 3,000 Years by Professor Israel Shahak?
Yeah, I encourage reading that book.
Very good book. He doesn't pull his punches.
No. But there's things more horrific than that. You gotta study Moses Hess. Study the teaching of Moses Hess's mentality.
Didn't Karl Marx call him my communist rabbi?
Yeah, well, communist is a Jewish subversion warfare. That's what it is, from the beginning. Wahhabism is a subversion warfare which was started by the Jews, but we can't talk about it nowadays, especially in the Arab countries, because the Saudis control the media and they control the Wahhabi gangsters. But we gotta start talking about this issue and let it go, and every average person should be aware of this. Every average person should be aware of the teaching of the Talmud.
Would you say their motto of divide and conquer is just their motto, it's just central to their doctrine? Keep everyone divided.
Yeah, and deception. The motto of the Mossad is wars of
wage war by deception.
By deception.
Yeah.
Jewry are the masters of deception and falsehood. They come up with hundreds of lies before they wake up, get off their beds. They do that very well. That's their strength. They lie, they brainwash you. Oh, Israel is an oppressed country. Israel is a criminal colonial enterprise. There's no such a thing as Israeli civilian. Israel is a military base. When you're in Israel, you're a criminal, armed person, and you don't have the right to stay there. Nice information.
Actually, it's getting better. They've got a lot more banners and placards this time. It's a lot more organised this time. So hopefully it goes from strength to strength, these rallies, or however imperfect they are. They get more focused on their message, more banners, more placards, more consistent. It's looking better every time.
Umama Usama Khalil Al-Haya. 9 Khalil Usama Khalil Al-Haya. 7 Iman Khalil Abed Amir. 9 Ibrahim Khalil Abed Amir. 13 Asim Khalil Abed Amir. 4 Tala Akram Ahmad Al-Atwi. 7
In a historical sense, Abe Saffron would have to be classified as Australia's most vile, amoral and absolutely corrupt criminals.
He was a small Jewish boy from the wrong side of the tracks in Sydney's inner west. He grew up to be one of the most mysterious and slightly notorious of all Sydney colourful characters.
He was named by 3 Royal Commissions as being the #1 organised criminal in Australia.
We went to Israel quite a bit because Abe had friends there and he loved being in Israel.
But it wasn't entirely free, as it appeared, because Saffron also had the rooms that they used tapped with listening devices and also cameras. They would take pictures of what was occurring and then present them to the victim, and they were theirs from then on.
He would have over a minister, a police commissioner, businessmen, very, very high-ranking people, people of the most highest ranks, very, very high-ranking people, people of the most highest ranks, people of the most highest ranks, the most highest ranks, the most highest ranks.
Good stuff, mate. Well, we'll head to the cafe for this BDS thing and see if we can do some real work.
Go to the BDS.
If I had remained invisible, the truth would stay hidden. I couldn't allow that.
And what if no one believes this truth?
Someone already died.